Hello and welcome to another edition of the Weighing Room podcast, where today we'll be previewing the action from Haydock, Goodwood and York on ITV, whilst also delving into the Irish 1000 and 2000 Guineas from the Curragh. Today I'm joined by Paul Callaghan and Frankie Foster as ever to look through the various races and hopefully come up with some winners for across the weekend. Chaps, it's been a few weeks since we've all as the trio. How have we been? How's the last few weeks been?
All good myself, James. I'm on not on my usual setup. I'm on a rugby bus in the middle of a sevens tournament. I've just come off a game. I've got a game after this, so it's a different podcast for me today. But I've been good. I can see you're sporting a good tan.
Yeah. I tried my best just to chill out, get a bit of a tan. It's staying at the moment, so we'll see how long it lasts. Paul, how have you been?
Yeah, all's good. Good again, James. And just wonder, is Frankie doing a bit of training for this charity race that we mentioned a few weeks back? I thought I seen Brian Arnold running by the window here a couple of hours ago. Not quite sure if he was running up the Cooley Mountains or running to the shop for an ice cream. But how's Frankie?
Pull out a call for another charity race, a 3 miler, and this lady from the job, could you be keen? I said, yeah, I'd love to. So on, it's over 3 miles. We've got to do this. It's at these dates. Are you free? Could you get? And I said, yes. And then she goes, oh, because I said, you need a big get me around 3 miles. She says, oh yeah, one you've got to be 12 stone. I don't think I'm 12 stone since I was 12. So there's no chance I'm 12 stone by August. I'd be physically unwell. I'm about the moment.
That's going to be a brave.
Definitely not.
Yeah, it's a brave. It's going to be a brave shout if you're taking on 3 miles now in a race. That'll be tough going.
Yeah.
Be happy enough.
No, I think. Yeah, 6 furlong would do for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
What we're going to do, we'll start off today. The first race. Well, we're not going to look at the first race, but the first race we're going to look at is from Goodwood on ITV, and it's the 13:45 Harroway's handicap, class 2 at Goodwood. Quite a tricky race to start us off, as it normally is on ITV. Paul, we'll start with yourself. Who did you come down on? Because I was looking through this race when we did the prep for it, and I could have picked from 3 or 4.
Yes, I think this is set to be a real cracker, this one. I've just come down on the side with the George Bowie train, the Evocative Spark, partnered by Callum Shepherd. I thought the draw could have been a bit kinder to him. He's a strong traveller, as he showed when scoring over the stiff 7.5 furlongs at Beverley last time out. He'd be hoping for a fast pace here, and Callum can just slot in maybe 3rd or 4th and hopefully pounce late. Evocative Spark for me in this one. Yeah,
George Bowie's going really well. Obviously, a classic winning trainer now, isn't he? With Cachet, he had a great run again in the French 1000 as well. So he's in flying form, and yeah, look, top of the market. We've got a great chance. Frankie, are you siding with Paul or are you looking elsewhere?
The Hannon trained River Pride is where I'm gonna go. And mostly, what I liked about this horse is that he just held his form in a class 2 after being bumped up the weights. There's a lot here that have won last time out and they took a bit of a hike in the weights. Pride won a class 5, I think it was, nothing race on the other easy enough. Then won a class 3 quite well and got bumped up 8 pounds ratings for that. Then went out in class 2, so went up in the weights, up in class, and ran a real good race to come second. And I like that he managed to hold his form in that race at Newmarket. Comes back into a class 2 again off of similar weights, and I think maybe with just a little bit more improvement, could definitely be in the frame at 7-1. Slight question is the trip. The only time on seven furlongs is on the other end of class 5, which obviously wouldn't have had much pace, but looked as if he'll stay that extra furlong last time out, and I think be in the frame.
Yeah, Hannon's got 3 in here, hasn't he? He's got Gisborne, Bosch, and River Pride, and River Pride's actually on odds, probably the outsider of the 3 at the moment, but the case you make for River Pride maybe might be the most progressive and definitely better off at the weights. So got to be in with a chance. Look, we've all started, we're all disagreeing with each other. I've gone with John and Thady Gosden's Al Taibi, I think it's pronounced. a really smart 2-year-old, like for the partnership, winning on seasonal debut at Newbury back in August. Next time out at Ascot, finished second behind a nice type for Charlie Hills, who's gone on to do quite good things. He then ran an enlisted race at the end of his 2-year-old career in the Rockingham Stakes at York, dropping 6 furlongs, didn't suit at all. He doesn't want 6 furlongs. And moving back up to 7 for this race, I think is exactly what he needs. He came back this season with a smart seasonal debut, when a next second on handicap debut over the same course and distance. Only £1 higher today for this run. I think he's a solid player to hit the frame. Currently 9-2, 5-1. Definitely each way claims, and it's quite strange. I thought maybe it's just because other jockeys are away from Goodwood, but had Zenny taken the ride, him and Gosden together have got quite a nice partnership. He's rode Stradivarius before in the past when Frankie can't. And I just thought this horse may be slightly better than his mark of 89. Look, it's a tough one to start with. You can make a case for plenty in the field, even ones that like down the bottom. Again, Jonathan Thady Gosden we find. I thought an half Michael Appleby. I think that's quite a nice horse. Hasn't shown his best form yet, but I am going to side with Alo Taibbi in the opener for us. So moving on to Haydock, where Haydock probably have the best card of the weekend on Saturday in England, and it's the 2 o'clock Hellnuke handicap over 2 miles that we're going to look into now. Frankie, 2 mile, really tricky handicap. Seen some horses come from running over hurdles back onto the flat. Who are you siding with?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? You've got all sorts in there. Hurdlers, horses coming from the all-weather, horses stepping up in trip. It's an absolute minefield, to be honest. I tried to just go with one that looked fairly consistent and stays the trip, has done enough work on the flat, and that was the Gubernator. Although he's a hurdler, ran plenty on the flat as well. He's ran plenty of times around 2 miles. I think he's gone up to 2 mile 2. So this is just another stretch on the flat over that distance, and he's won at Haydock before, which is quite nice. So my angle here really was trying to find somebody that this might be familiar territory to, rather than one switching codes or from all weather to turf. And the Gubernator looked the most consistent for me, and his mark remains unchanged from his last flat performance in a Class 2 over 2-2 at Newmarket. So he comes here with a good chance. He was second off of 86 last time. So yeah, the Gubernator for the McCain team for me.
Yeah, Donald McCain, what a season he had last year. Last season, sorry, over the jumps. I think it was his record-breaking season for himself, and obviously helped Brian Hughes go on to win the Champion Jockeys title.
Yeah.
And look, if he can do it on the flat as well, that'd be amazing. The Gubernator, yeah, definitely got a good chance. 11-2 currently in the market. Paul, who did you come down on?
I've gone with Valley Forge from Andrew Bulding and David Probert. Valley Forge was slow into stride and was always playing catch up on seasonal reappearance. Was twice a winner last season, and I thought if we look, he ran all right on his pre-visit to Haydock. I thought it's been a beaten favourite. He was only beaten around about 2 lengths by the winner, and that over 1.6 miles. And I thought he looked on a bit one pace in the closing stages, and I think he will appreciate the step up to 2 miles here. There should be more to come, so it's Valley Forge for me. A mark of 89, carries 9 stone.
Yeah, Valley Forge, he was smart last year, wasn't he? That win at York over 1.6 miles, I think it was the Melrose handicap. That was a superb performance, and if anything like that form in this race, I think it could be very hard to beat. But you can tell it's tricky handicaps to start us off, can't you? We're all disagreeing with each other. I'm going to go with Miranda for Paul Nicholls. This horse is really smart mare over both codes, really, for Nicholls. Now back on the flat off a mark of 91, same mark of what she raced off last time when in the flat, which I think was back in 2020. So very unmoved, which might be very respectable for the mare to run off 91. If you look, she rated 146 over timber this season, placed in listed and Group 2 events over hurdles at Wetherby and Doncaster, and also managed to land a nice race at Ludlow and just getting up close home. She's still only 7 years old. Like for a jumps horse, that's absolutely nothing. Yes, for a flat horse, it's slightly more, but when you're coming back on the flat for this odd run, I don't think it's bad at all. Like I mentioned, September 2020 was the last time she ran on the flat, and that was at Nottingham on soft ground in a handicap. Runs off the same mark. I thought if she was okay after I think she had 4 runs over hurdles last season on the jumps, 17-2. If she's fully wound up, ready to go on the flat again, I thought she definitely got place claims. And I just think 91's quite lenient. I think she can be better than that personally on the flat. But yeah, look, tricky handicap to start us off for all, and we've all gone different. So hopefully we've found some value there. Back over to Goodwood, their final event on terrestrial TV on the Saturday, and it sees their feature. It's the listed festival stakes. Frankie, we'll start with you on this one. Who did you come down on in the end?
I'm going with what is now the favourite, Moving Time, for Roger Varian. I just think you look at the field you got here, and this is the younger, the less exposed, the improving horse that seems to be on an upward curve, and reappearance run, to be honest, not, although if you look at it on bare form alone, 6th in the field, you might not be too happy with that. But first time back out in a handicap, high enough in the weight, it's reared up in the stalls beforehand, and when actually settling, ran a half decent race. So I think, with a fair start into a listed race here, so no worry of being high up in the weight, got that run under his belt. Moving Time, I think, is a deserving friend. If you want to be safe, you can each way at 4-1. I think we'd definitely be in the frame here.
Yeah, Moving Time. If you actually look at his last 3 runs and you just look at the bare form of it, like 5th, 4th, 6th, you think, this is probably not the horse that the yard thought it was going to be last season. But I still think they think this is a nice horse, and they might have just plotted to put him into one of these races at listed level that can go close. You have a similar opinion, Paul, or did you look elsewhere?
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion as Frankie. I thought last time out ran well. He ran a bit fresh and ultimately paid the price. I think, he's a 4-year-old. That'd be the only concern. A 4-year-old taking on his elders. Who physically you'd imagine they should be a bit, stronger than he is. But Moving Time with Majestic Dawn set to forward, I think it'll be a fair performance for Jim Crowley's man to see out the 1 and 2 trip. He does like to go forward. He does like to set fast fractions, and I think that'll help Moving Time settle. And hopefully, in an ideal world, he'll get a good toe into the race and pounce late in the hands of Zenny.
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for Moving Time. I really have. I think it's a really nice horse and can show better in this race than what he has shown to date this season. But Majestic Dawn was the one that took my eye for Paul and Oliver Cole. And one thing that swung me in the way of this instead of Moving Time is the forecast when we record now, or Thursday afternoon. It says there's going to be a little bit of rain Friday afternoon that might just make the ground good to soft. Look, it might stay good, it might not. But when it normally rains at Goodwood, it does normally need to stick into the ground. And you've seen it like Glorious Goodwood. When it does rain, it really just hammer home. So if the rain does come, I think Majestic Dawn has got a really, really good chance. Smart 6-year-old for Paul and Oliver Cole. The Gelding's been a really consistent performer, I think, for the majority of his career, with his best success coming in September 2020 when landing the 27-runner Cambridgeshire handicap. You've got to be a good horse to land that race, in my opinion. His best performances have come over the 10 furlong trip, which he pretty much gets here. Beat Just Fine for Sir Michael Stout, and then rounded off last term at Newmarket, went a good second behind another stout horse in Baybridge. And Baybridge looks a group horse in the making to me. Really, really nice horse. Massively need the run on seasonal debut. Majestic Dawn did at Chester. The trainer said in the paddock before the race, this horse is about 80%, 70%, definitely needs the run. And he told by finishing dead last. But McGallum came third, who was favourite that race, didn't handle the track. Certain Lad ran a big race in Solid Stone under Ryan Moore. He couldn't do anything wrong that week at Chester, Ryan Moore. I just think now having the run under his belt, Majestic Dawn, with a little bit of juice in the ground, around 5-1 at the moment, is each way value for me, and that would be the play in the race for me. But look, I think both Moving Time and Majestic Dawn are very tough. There's others in the market that if the rain came, Brentford Hope's a very smart horse for Richard Hughes, would need more rain than he's probably forecast, but it's a nice horse. And there's others that might need rain in there, but yeah, Majestic Dawn and Moving Time, you can't really split them at the top of the market at the moment. And I thought that, they both got very, very good chances. So the next race we're going to cover is the Silver Bowl Handicap back at Haydock, over a mile. Paul, we'll start with you on this one. There's a bit of a hot favourite, already been gambled on from Anti-Post. Now looking around 13-8 in the market, that's Mighty Ulysses. Are you with the favourite or are you against the favourite?
I'm against. I'm going to take the favourite on with one at a bit of here. I'm with the Dan and Clare Kubler trained Outgate. Tom Marquand takes the mountain. Outgate was a good winner of the sharp 7 furlongs off a handicap mark of 88 at Chester last time out. Has on try at Oakville, and that was at market back in April where he finished second, was beaten a little under 4 lengths by the winner on that occasion. Lines up here off a mark of 93. I think on the back of that last time out success at Chester, all 93, having scored at Chester off 88, with little mileage on the clock, it's always interesting, I think, as the case here, the Connections have opted not to claim. That would indicate that Connections feel that Outgate off 93 in this company should be competitive, and Tom Marquand booked. It's an eye-catching jockey booking, and I think, dare I say it, that Outgate could well be nap material.
Oh,
that's
10 to 9 to 1 nap.
Yeah, tell you what, that'd be really nice to land, would it? What you've just said there about Marquand on Outgate, I do quite like that. He's riding out his skin at the moment, especially with Haggis's horses going well. And Outgate's last run, I think it was, Chester. Yeah, he was quite taken. So look, they're not the biggest training operation in the world, so it'd be nice to see him have a winner in a race like this. Frankie, who did you come down on?
I'm going to stick with the favourite. And the key, kind of almost opposite to what Paul said about and them decided to have a claimer. I think the key for the favourite could be the claimer. Obviously, top weight, the classiest horse in the race on bare form, really won a class 4. Wasn't disgraced in a listed race when just green, not experienced enough. Won easily enough last time out. It's obviously been hiked up in the weights of 101, but that £5 claim would bring the weight effectively down to 9.4. I'm hoping will be the difference on the day.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And when Paul was saying nap material, I had in the back of my mind that this could be my nap as well, because I really do like my I really do like this horse. Look, he's the class horse in the race, definitely. I don't mind there's a claimer on board personally. It would have been nicer to even have the 7, but I think only over the last few days, Benoit de la Sayeds took that 7 down to 5 by winning the certain amount of races he has. But he made a very smart debut, this horse, and when I saw it straight away, I just thought, that was really taking. Came back this season, didn't he, in the listed blue ribbon trial, didn't take to 10 furlongs. Don't think he took to Epsom as well. And then got brought back to a mile last time out. I don't know, he was a class act, wasn't he? He went off 8 to 13 favourite and won like an 8 to 13 favourite did. Devoted Poet back in second, was about 4.5 lengths behind him. That was no match for him on the day. He's making his handicap debut here. I am just on the opinion of this horse that he's a group horse in a handicap. Gosden's had plenty in his time of these sorts of horses, and I think he's really trying to see just how good this horse is. The £5 helps being top weight. Like Marco 101, what's he going down to? 96. I still think he's better than 96. I think the 101's bang on, and to be running off 96 effectively with the £5 off, I think it's a bit of a gift. And I think Mighty Ulysses did the job, and I'm quite strong here. I've got a lot of respect for Outgate, and I've got a lot of respect for Dirty Old Town, Mr. Wilson as well, but I don't think they're in the same calibre as horse as Mighty Ulysses personally, but that's just my opinion, and I can see why the money's come for this horse straight away. I think if you looked in the week, Mighty Ulysses was as big as 3 to 1, 4 to 1, now 13 to 8 to 6 to 4. I think he could even go off even money personally. I think he's got a really, really good chance. So moving on, the first event on the Knavesmire on ITV this weekend is the 255 William Hill Best Odds Guaranteed Handicap. Frankie, it's another handicap we're going to have a look into. Who do you fancy?
With Sir Titus, had a bit of a, I guess you could say, a surprise second. It was 20 and coming out class 4 up to a class 3. A really good race. I think I'm just checking next second. I think at Nottingham, a next second to Rasil that day. And what I like is he's come out this year and back that up with another. And for whatever reason, seems to have clicked with this horse, running 2 really strong races, being unlucky not to win in both of them. Does have to step up to a class 2 here, but same rating. Has had that run. bit of tidiest, gets away well, which we know makes all the difference over 5 furlongs for being with the team.
Yeah, definitely a York, especially over the 5 furlong. It's absolutely rapid. It's over within seconds, the race. So yeah, so Titus was one I looked at as well. I thought 8 stone 9 off a mark of 85. Yeah, I thought definitely win with a chance around 7-1. Lookout Lewis was the one I came down on. Look, not a massively strong opinion, but if looking down the race, Lookout Lewis would be the one I'd pick out. I think this horse is massively on the upgrade. Currently around 11-2. You can play him each way, definitely. With some firms probably going to be offering extra places on the day, with it being a fair field at York. He started the year with a win at Newcastle over 5 furlongs. He then went into a Class 3 at Newcastle again, and he was only third of 5. But returned to the turf in April, bounced back in a big way, when only a length behind the smart Twilight Calls for Cheveley Park at Newmarket. He upheld that form last time out at Chester when beating proven sprinter Count Dorsey by a head, and he's only £4 higher. I still don't think he's in the grip of the handicapper. And off a mark of 89, it's nice to see Julie Camacho have quite a nice horse in her ranks. And I think he'd go well at 11-2. But it's not a massively strong opinion on this race. Paul, who did you land on?
Gone with Atlas Bay, who found life tough in a couple of Group 3s on his last 2 starts. Prior to that, he ran well to finish third of 10 in a similar event over course and distance off a handicap marker of 103 when trained by Marco Body. He was beaten a length by the winner on that occasion. He takes his chance here off a marker 102. I'm hoping, had a couple of rides back in the day for Robert Cowell. He's a top man. I'm hoping and I'm thinking that Atlas Bay has to enter calculations here. I can't see him out of the first 3 under jockey Neil Callan.
Yeah, Atlas Bay, I remember watching last year, and he's run at Sandown. Absolutely rapid in that listed event. He's just such a quick horse, and he's top weight for a reason in this, because he's obviously the most classiest horse, and he could just get away from the field. And yeah, definitely within the strong chance. Currently around 9-10-1 in the market. So yeah, nice price. Could be a nice price winner for you, Paul. So one of the feature races on ITV on Saturday afternoon, then we're going to cover, is the Group 2 Sandy Lane Stakes. And this, to me, looks quite a nice renewal of the race this year. Paul, we'll start with you on this one. I think this could be one of the best renewals for some time. It's really, really tricky from a punting aspect, but there's some really smart potential horses that are going to go to post. So who did you come down on?
I've gone with Carol Burke's El Cabello. Clifford Lee takes the mount, and El Cabello hasn't looked back since finishing runner-up on debut at Doncaster. He's 4 from 4 on the all-weather. He won on soft ground on his second start at Carlisle. That was in May of last year, I think it is. The yard continue in great form, and I think it'll take a fair performance to beat him. I think he's pretty straightforward. He's versatile. The yard, as I mentioned, they're in terrific form, and as I said, I just think it'll take a fair performance and a good one to beat him.
Yes, strong. It's been a strong favourite all week, being backed anti-post. Now, probably one of the biggest prices it's been for the last few days, around 94. But the form El Cabello holds is absolutely superb. So I can see why you've gone with that. Frankie, who did you come down on?
Yeah, I'm going to try and take him on with Go Bears. I hate backing a horse that wins on the all-weather and switches to turf on it. I mean, 5-2 is not actually too short, to be fair, is it? But as a favourite that's switching over to turf, I always struggle to back one. I'd rather take him on with Go Bears Go. There's a you could argue a loose bit of form. Go Bears Go beat Eraz by a couple of lengths at Ascot in a Group 3 last night. That horse was just second to the runner-up behind Al Caballo at Newcastle. A tiny bit of loose form time there between them, which might have them level with each other. And I just like the fact that Go Bear's done it in group company on the turf and comes here with a good run at Ascot rather than that all-weather at Newcastle.
It'll be interesting. Yeah. You'd be hoping the two boys don't get locked in a fight early on. Cliff Lee and Ross Ryan, they're drawn next door to each other as 10, and only slight concern if they get raced a long way out. Might just set up for someone.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. I do agree that they could just get locked into a battle a long way out, and they could just blow out. But I'm of the same opinion as you, Frankie. Here, I actually think Go Bears Go's back form is some of the best in the race. I've got a lot of respect for El Caballo in the race, but the all-weather thing doesn't really bother me so much, because if you're a good horse, you're a good horse. You run on whatever. But Goes Bears Go, we're winning the Group 2 Railway Stakes, then finishing third in the Group 1 Phoenix Stakes. Look, it was no good over 7 furlongs in the Dewhurst. But then it's running Del Mar behind Twilight Gleaming, who's a seriously fast horse on that quick ground, and that was over 5 furlongs. I just think that's some really smart form. Another thing that's persuaded me to go with Go Bears Go, I'm a huge fan of Eras for Richard Hannon. Obviously, Go Bears Go beat Eras when they joined at the start of the season. Eras has come out, and I'm not sure how Eras lost that race last time out to Tiberflow. I was absolutely distraught because I was on Eras at quite a nice price, and I just couldn't believe it got B. And I think there's a lot more from Eras to come, and that's why I think there's a lot more from Go Bears Go to come. I know trainer David Loughnane, he really likes his horse. He's probably one of his favourite horses in the yard. I do think this is a stepping stone to the Commonwealth Cup, and I think the price will go on the Commonwealth Cup, obviously, if Go Bears Go goes well here. But it is out the top 2 in the market, and just for me, Go Bears Go edges it. But look, you're right. It's a tactical affair with them both being next to each other. Flaming Rib, a very quick horse. Clive Cox, you know what he's like with his sprint. He's got Couture and Wings of War. I think they're both going to come on for their first runs of the season. I really think it's a really good renewal of the race. And I can't wait to watch it all unfold. But for me, Go Bears Go for David Loughnane should go very close. So we're going to go back over to York and their feature event on the Saturday is the William Hill Bronte Cup Fillies Stakes over 1 mile 6. Looks a tough Group 3 from a punting angle. Frankie, we'll start with you on this one. Who did you land on?
I'm going to go with the Joseph O'Brien, Mighty Blue, who takes a very similar route to last. She does most of her work over hurdles. Ran a flat race over in Ireland, coming 6th at Cork, nothing special, and then went on to win at Gurren Park. Came to York in this race a favourite. And didn't end up winning that day, came 4th. This year, didn't have that run at Cork, just went straight to the same race at Gurren Park, came 3rd, and now comes back to York again. And I wonder, maybe is that a slight change from the trainer just to have that one less run into the horse? Ran well, came 3rd, won off joint favourite over in Ireland, and maybe comes here slightly fresher for just the one run on the, hopefully can almost round and come 3rd in Ireland and win at York, as opposed to the other way around last year. So yeah, that's my angle in with Mighty.
Yeah, Mighty Blue obviously ran in the race last year and was beaten, and that was the thing that slightly put me off with that horse. But look, he's obviously raced around York, and she knows what she's doing around the track, which is quite big around York, so she might be able to reverse that form. Paul, who did you come down on?
I've gone with Urban Mist. I think is a cracking price. Urban Mist finished 2nd this race last year behind Tribal Craft, who finished with a rating of 110. The highest rated in this year's event is 107. Her best form on the flat is with a bit of cut in the ground, which is one of bumper at low on good ground. In national hunt terms, good ground at Ludlow would be on the quick side, pretty much on the majority of tracks elsewhere. So I think the ground's going to be fine. She runs well fresh. And I think she, as I said, she represents a great value at around 6 or 7 to 1. Peter McDonald is back on board for trainer Hughie Morrison.
Yeah, Urban Artist, like I said, it's a tricky one because you've got horses 6 to 1, 4 to 1 that all got really good chances. But I'm going to have a little punt at one of the outsiders in the race. It's only 13 to 2, and there's only one horse bigger in the market currently. But I'm going to have a go with Glen Artney, I think it's called, for Ed Walker. He makes big appeal around the 13 to 2 mark. For me, she does. This horse holds some serious form at York, and that's the angle I've took into the race, looking at it, because I don't think he's not the greatest renewal in the world. And I think even though it is a Group 3, it's probably not full of talent that are Group 3 runners. And this horse, yes, it might not be at Group 3 level, but I think can definitely go close in this. If you look at her 2 efforts on the Knavesmire, she's finished a good 5th in the Group 3 Musadora behind the likes of Group 1 winners Snowfall and Tiona last season over 1 mile 4 at the track. And then in August was only a 2-length third behind Forbearance for Jessica Harrington and Domino Darling for William Haggis in a listed event. Also, this season, she's already had one run into a listed event at Goodwood. It will put a spot on for this event. She'll definitely like the step up in trip if you look at the way she races. I thought at 13-2, I'm happy to take a punt on one of the outsiders in this race and hopefully get some of the top of the market beat. But I just thought her York form was very taken against some absolutely class horses. And you think she's only finishing 2 lengths, and I think it was only 4 or 5 lengths behind Snowfall and the rest that day. If she's running up to that form, I think she's got a huge chance around 13-2. So that's the way I would play it in that one. So the best race of the afternoon on ITV looks to be the Group 2 Temple Stakes, a race won by some seriously smart horses, including Batash on 2 occasions. Frankie, a really nice race again, but again, very tricky. Who did you land on?
Yeah, I went back and forwards between Winter Power, the favourite, and Twilight Calls. And in the end, I just thought, stick with Mr. Easterby. He's a top class trainer. The 2 thinkers that Winter Power put in on his holidays in Ireland and over in France would be what would put you off. And maybe the fact that, to be honest, most of his form comes at York, as do a lot of Easterby horses. He hasn't performed in many races outside of that, but he's a Group 1 winner. He's a top class sprinter, and I just think, as I said, have some trust in Tim Easterby that things didn't work out overseas, and he's got him back. He's got him right, and he's placed him here at Haydock and want to get back to winning ways because he is a top class horse. So Winter Power, I'm going to stick with, albeit the iffy form late.
Yeah, Winter Power, like she's an absolutely superb sprinter. If you go on winning the Nunthorpe, you've got to be a very, very classy horse, haven't you? And you're right, it might just be that taking a trip across to Ireland, taking a trip across to France, but she didn't like the travel and she didn't like the way things went over there. So look, definitely the best horse in the race, but I'm going to take her on. I am going to take her on. I'm going to try and find some value in this race, and I think maybe the time to take her on is on her first occasion. And I've took a little stab in the dark. Well, I wouldn't say in the dark. It's an educated stab, but it's at Mossgill around the 14-1 mark currently. The 6-year-old does not lack any pace. Like a lot of these horses don't lack any pace, but this horse is seriously quick. If you look at some of his back form, one of his best runs to date came when only 2 lengths behind Batash in the Nunthorpe in 2020. To get that close to a horse of Batash's talent, I thought was very, very good form to look at. Look, 6 years of age now, might not be to the same level, but I thought if getting anywhere near that level could go really close here. Very consistent horse over the years for Edward Bethel. Especially recently, like last year, finished second on 4 of his 6 events in Group 3 and listed company. A key piece of form that I do like as well with Winter Power. Winter Power at 6-4, Mossgill at 14-1 in the listed Wall Stakes. I think it was last year. He was only a length behind Winter Power. And if he can run to that form, only a length behind 14-1, 6-4, I'm happy to take the 14-1 and each way value on Mossgill. He also placed at Haydock last year. He's obviously got a lot of form there over the course and distance in the listed Achilles Stakes. And like I've said, I'm definitely going to play him each way. I wouldn't go on the nose, but I just really like his chances at 14-1. It's the price that got me for that horse. I know he might be getting on, but yeah, 14-1, I like to have a go. Paul, who did you come down on?
I think Winter Power is the one they all have to beat. She's rated £9 higher than the next. So on her best form, she does take beating. But I quite like the chances of King's Lynn, especially if the rain arrives. Now, King's Lynn was a winner of a listed event, of course, in distance. Ran fresh at Chester last time out. Still managed to finish second. That was on good ground. His best form is on solid ground. There is a bit of rain forecast on Friday, and I think if soft appears in the going description, I think King's Lynn, if you are having a punt, will give you a good run for your money. Yeah,
it'd be a nice winner for the Queen, and I think King's Lynn's run last time out Chester put him absolutely spot on for this race. So that's all the ITV races in England covered for Saturday. But what we're going to do now, we're going to move on to, Paul, your code over in Ireland. There's some cracking racing this weekend. at the Curragh. Obviously starting Friday, but we're going to cover the races on Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to look at some of the best group races across both those cards. And the first race we're going to cover on the Saturday is the Group 2 Greenland Stakes over 6 furlong. Paul, obviously we've got to start off with you here. You've got to have the first say. Who you come down on in this one?
Yeah, you teed that up nice. Set for a belter over here this weekend. And my first selection, I'm going to stay loyal to the Haydock and York train, the KCU. You turned the corner from August of last year, Group 1 winner. I think if the travelling, been to Medan, been to France, I think if the travelling hasn't taken too much out of him, combined with competing at the top level, if that hasn't left his mark, I think he has to take the beating here.
Yeah. Also in the case of you, Cam, for exactly the same reasons you just explained there, Paul. Although harbouring a penalty in this race, I think he's such a class act that dropping down into a Group 2, being a proven Group 1 horse, winning 2 different Group 1s in 2 different countries, like may I add, I think it's a remarkable horse. And what the trainer's done with this horse as well to get it as good as he is, I think it's an absolute masterclass personally. I think it is. The only worry is I do think this is a stepping stone to bigger races throughout the season. And you just wonder maybe, is he fully wound up? But a case of you for me, yeah, definitely for what you've just said. I think he's got a great chance. Frankie, who do you land on?
Power under me with Colin Keane on board for me in this. On the hat-trick, 2 successes over 6 furlong and just looks a real consistent and game sprinter. Last time out, battled well to get up and win, and the 2 horses in behind that day have both gone on either to win or be placed in similar races following on from there. I think probably the least exposed in the field, one that is on a bit of an upward curve, and I just really like the way that Power Under Me has gone about his races the last couple of times, and I think they will be looking to land the hat trick and make it 3 from 3 here.
Yeah, definitely with a chance landing the hat trick. And Colin Keane, he's one of my favourite Irish jockeys over there. Yeah, he's top class. So the feature events of the weekend, not just in Ireland but over here as well, is definitely the Irish 2000 Guineas. Look, we have a seriously strong favourite in this classic event in Native Trail, currently at 4-11. It'd be a massive surprise to see this horse get beat from what it's done so far in his career. Is it as simple, lads? We'll start with you, Frankie, but is it as simple that Native Trail just goes and wins this?
I think so. That the Guineas over here was a great race and performance that day. Should just go and win this. I mean, the price suggests it to 11, but if he runs a similar race, does the same, Buick will definitely be looking to make amends and do everything he can to win this, and the best horse in the race.
Yeah, definitely the best horse in the race. Is it the same, Paul? Is it just as simple as it is Native Trails goes and wins, and it's just named how many lengths he wins by?
Yeah, that's it. I think the distance betting, if you are to have a bet, if not, just put the feet up, sit back and enjoy. I think I'll be disappointed if we don't see something special here. I don't think he handles Newmarket chopping and changing his legs. If you watch his 2 runs there, I don't think he's just totally in love with undulation. He was impressive scoring in the Group 1 National Stakes at last September, and I'll be disappointed if we don't see something special once again here.
Yeah, absolutely bang on with what you said. Native Trail, he should just go and win this race. But look, we're looking to try and find a bit of value. And one horse I've picked out around 33s, 25-1 in the market. It's not going to beat Native Trail, but definitely one that can hit the frame, and definitely for betting without the favourite in the market is Atomic Jones for Ger Lions. I think he looks really big value, around 33-1, 25-1 to me. Seen 3 times today, winning on debut at the Curragh over 7 furlongs back in June 2021. He then made it back-to-back victories when seeing off the second favourite for the Derby, currently Stone Age, in a Group 2 champion juvenile stakes at Leopardstown over the mile. Making his first start this season, bumped up to 1 mile 2, looked maybe to going down the Derby style trip, and he was in the Group 3 Derby trial, and just I don't think he got the trip at all. I think the mile's exactly what he needs. back at a mile now. I think he's quite a nice horse, and I think he's a bit underestimated in the market personally. And I think I would like to have a go. Look, you can't have a bet on Native Trail really at 4 to 11 unless you're going to have a go on the lengths or just put it in accumulators to bump it up. But if I was going to have a bet in this race, it would be without the favourite or each way on Atomic Jones. And I think he can hit the frame, and I'll be happy, very happy to see if he does. Again, like we said, Colin Keane, that man's on board. So let's see if he can work a bit of a miracle. And I think it looks a bit of a huge price to me. So moving on to Sunday's card, and obviously when we're filming at the moment, we're looking from an anti-post perspective. So hopefully these horses do run. And the first race we're going to cover on the Sunday from the Curragh is the Tattersalls Gold Cup. A very nice race that has been won by some very special horses throughout its time. Paul, we'll start with you. Who did you land on?
I've gone with last year's winner, Haydock Dream, who stayed on late in the day. There is a bit of rain forecast at the Curragh, and I think if they get enough and the going this turn, if we get testing conditions, it's good dealing at the moment. If we get soft or heavy, I think he'd be spot on for this. I thought he made a satisfactory return when finishing 5th to 9 in the alleged stakes last month. That run should have left him spot on, and rain dependent, I think, just depends on how much they get at the Curragh. But if we get a nice drop of rain, I think Haydock Dream can run a cracker and take the beating once again. Yeah,
I think what you get with Haydock Dream is definitely a working man's price for a horse that's won the race last year, currently around 10 to 1. So he definitely could go close once again. Frankie, who did you land on for this one?
State of Rest, I'm going with. 3 from 3 in Group 1 is in the race, but I quite think wrong. And if anything, doing them in not easy, but stylishly all around the trip, all on this kind of good sort of firm ground. 1 mile 1, 1 mile 2, 1 mile 2, just extremely consistent, doing absolutely nothing wrong and improving, if anything. It's a State of Rest to continue and make it 4 from 4 for me.
Yeah, I'm in the State of Rest camp. I just hope State of Rest does turn up here, only racing, 19, 20 days ago. Joseph O'Brien team are in some serious form over in Ireland at the moment. And like you said, his last 3 runs, it's like he's come to life, hasn't he, this horse? And I think he's very, very special. In August, near the end of the season, he went to America, winning the Grade 1 Saratoga Derby, a very similar trip to this. Then made it back-to-back globetrotting wins when taking the Grade 1 Cox Plate. And I think for a trainer to go and win that race in Australia against all the Australian trainers to get their horses so wound up for that race, I thought it was an unbelievable training performance. And look, he's done it before, Joseph O'Brien, in America, in Australia, in France. He's done it everywhere. He's a superb trainer, but to get this horse to win that Cox Plate, I thought was very special. And then obviously back this season, he's gone on to win another Group 1, make the hat trick in the Group 1 Prix-Guineas at Paris-Longchamp. To win a hat trick of Group 1 races in France, Australia, and America, you've got to be a very, very special horse. You've got to be a very, very special horse. He's having his first run on home soil since June 2021. He's just a class act in the race for me. And he's currently 11 to 4. Obviously, we don't know who's going to run yet. Lord North's the current favourite, 7 to 4. But if Joseph O'Brien rang us up now and said, look, he's definitely going for the race, that 11 to 4 is unbelievable value. Unbelievable value. And I think State of Rest. If he goes and wins the 4th Grade 1 in a different country, that's a special horse. So, yeah, hopefully State of Rest goes and wins that. And it's another cracking Group 1 to look forward to on the Sunday. So the final race we're going to cover on this week's pod is the Irish 1000 Guineas from the Curragh. Frankie, we'll start with you on this one. We've got Tuesday at the top of the market. We've got Homeless Songs for Dermot Well that was going to go for the English 1000 Guineas and the French, but now it's turned up at the Irish. Who did you land on?
Yeah, you got Tuesday, haven't you? The kind of talked up horse of the season, as you said, Homeless Songs, who's been trying for a Guineas and has ended up here. I'm having just a bit of a rogue punt on Hermano Estrella. What do we know about a 50 to 1 shot that's ran green and won a Group 3? Not much. But we've said this a few times. when a horse does run a bit green and still, we know that there's more left. Maybe a bit of recency bias with both horses at York Desert, Crown and Emily Upjohn, who were both very lightly raced going into those big races. And similar story, ran a bit green first time out, and then went on to settle and win proper races, and now look like, or are both favourites for the Oaks. And so yeah, I'm just taking a bit of a chance. Surprise winner. We don't know a whole lot. Has won a Group 3 first time out, 50-1, and maybe could be a very, very smart horse.
Yeah, 12-1 currently in the market, and like Paul mentioned, if the ground turns a bit soft over there, you'll definitely like that off the basis of her debut. Paul, who's your 1,000 guineas pick?
Homeless Songs. Slight concern would be how much rain arrives, given that she has such, had showed such a quick turn of foot at Leopardstown last time out. She won a trial. She got the better of Agartha by 1 length. Chris Hayes has been pretty bullish in Thursday's Racing Post. Just to quote Chris Hayes, he believes that Homeless Songs possesses an extraordinary turn of foot and will take a lot of beating in Sunday's Tattersalls Irish 1,000 guineas. If the rain falls, that's going to dent that speed. It's going to dent that turn of foot. And Chris, just I'll read quickly for anyone who is interested. Hayes says she's not just exciting, she's a terribly exciting filly. Her turn of foot was extraordinary at Leopardstown. It's all systems go. She did her last piece of work and seemed very well. I thought it was a good decision not to go to Newmarket. The ground looked on the tighter side as it did in Longchamp as well. I'm very privileged and lucky they're keeping the partnership intact from my point of view, and hopefully we'll be able to repay the favour. So that's what Chris Hayes says on Thursday's Racing Post. And I think Homeless Songs can take the beating.
Yeah, that's very bullish, isn't it? Very, very bullish from a
very confident, yeah.
So, and when you hear stuff like that, you've got to take notice, haven't you? But saying that, I am going to go against Homeless Songs. Look, it's a very tricky race, and it's another one I'm not going to have a massive shout on. But if I had to pick one, I'm a massive fan of Tuesday. I really am. Look, it's very easy to pick a favourite, but I'm just a huge fan of this horse. And maybe Best is yet to come in the Oaks. Maybe she needs further, and the mile's not the trip that she wants. But I just really, really like this horse. 3-year-old daughter of Galileo. And Ballydoyle, like Chris Hayes has just mentioned there, Ballydoyle have been ranting and raving about this horse throughout this season already. And they do envision her being a Grade 1 horse. She might be the same type as like Santa Barbara, where they need to wait for a slightly further, or wait for another day before she finally goes and shows her top class form. But you look at her 3 runs today, she hasn't done a lot wrong, and you can see why she is at the top of the market. She made a debut as a 2-year-old at the Curragh, and second to the Bright Discoveries for Jessica Harrington. Obviously, she didn't run very well in the 1,000 guineas at Newmarket. She's put away and it's in twice his term, getting off the mark on seasonal debut at Naas over a mile, and then last seen in the English 1,000 guineas under what I thought was a good ride up the rail from Frankie Dettori, and what she was doing was definitely staying on that day. Like I mentioned, she might be one for the Oaks, and the mile might not be as far as she wants. But for me, Tuesday, I can see why she's at the top of the market, and I'd like to think she's going to run a solid race, and that's what I want to see. Just want to see her run really, really good race. Top stuff, lads. Thanks for all the insight this week, and what's going to be a cracking weekend, isn't it, Paul, over in Ireland? Is it as big as the English 1,000 and 2,000 guineas like it is in England?
Yeah, I think it is. It is fairly massive. Like there'll be a proper crowd there. No, it is. It's a great weekend now, so really looking forward to it, and hopefully the rain won't dampen spirits or keep the crowds away. Yeah, let's hope so. Everyone, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Wizard Enclosure channel, with obviously more podcasts coming throughout the coming weeks, and hopefully what's been a long podcast, but with a lot of races covered, we found some winners. So thanks again, lads, and we'll see you all next week.